Well, happy Saturday. It is the 19th of October, 2019, T plus 200, a milestone, uh, manufactured milestone perhaps, but nevertheless, it's a milestone, 200 days post-transplant. Journal number 200, which is insane in and of itself, as we've said before. Having an interesting conversation with our daughter-in-law and about life. Um, I think about life a lot. You do that when the prospect of life seems like it could be taken away from you. Um, and we were talking about the serendipity of good things coming into your life, surrounding you in so many different ways, in so many different places, and how fortunate we are when we see them. And there's a lot of truth in that. If you remember the time when you couldn't drive past a car that didn't have a Carpe Diem bumper sticker on it. Um, I don't know that seizing the day is what it's all about. I think it should read like Occupandi Temporis, seize the moment, seize the temporary moment that we have at that moment. Or maybe it should be Carpe Momentum, seize the moment. Um, but that brings on a whole another discussion. And that discussion is um, swirling around whether or not you see it, whether you see the moment for what it is, and I believe with a perfect faith that you have to be in the moment to see the moment. You're not going to see the moment if you're two steps ahead or two steps behind, if you're focusing on the future or you're focusing on the past. But we can talk about that some more, and I'd really be interested in what you think about that. So if you think about it, you might want to drop me a note. I'm the easiest guy in the world to get a hold of. Um, you can email me at mitch@misfirebook.com. But if you think about this whole idea, and you hear about it all the time, people talk to you all the time about, luck is where opportunity meets preparation. You have to be prepared for whatever it is the universe is going to ask you to do. And you must be able to recognize the opportunity. And my feeling is and has always been that these opportunities are around you all the time. They're specters. They're ghosts of things that can happen. But if you don't recognize them, if you don't see them for what they are, they never will happen. They'll never have the opportunity to happen. Um, and that's easier than it sounds and much more difficult at the same time. Uh, as I said a minute ago, I believe you have to be in the moment to see the moment for what it is. But once you see the moment for what it is, there are a number of different emotional hurdles and obstacles that you have to overcome, that you have to crash through, barriers, self-imposed barriers for the most part, but barriers nonetheless that you have to crash through in order to take advantage of the moment, in order to seize the moment, in order to go ahead and make the choice necessary to take you into a different future. It's a crossroads. That's all it is, really. And we're faced with them all the time. That's what these opportunities are, isn't it? Isn't that what they are? You get to a crossroads and you look and you say, I don't know what happens either way, but I'm going to choose this road. Or more famously, the road less traveled, perhaps. I don't know. Um, but you have to recognize the moment and then overcome the natural fear of change. And we've probably touched on this a number of times in the past 200 blog posts, but realistically, in my view, the fear of success is a much more powerful fear than the fear of failure. Um, if you fail, you go back to the way things were for the most part. Maybe a little bit more bruised, maybe a little bit more bloodied, um, maybe more cautious for the next time, but everything stays pretty much the way it was. If you become successful, whatever that means, however you choose to define it, you really have to expect that a lot of things in your life will no longer be the same as what they once were. And that paralyzes people. Uh, Making the decision paralyzes some people, but the reason for that, I think, is because they can see or sense or feel. Notice that none of those are analytical expressions. Um, they're all emotional responses, that something's going to change and they have no idea what that change is going to look like and how it's going to impact them or all of the people in their universe, all the people around them. So when we start thinking about this whole idea of occupying the moment, occupandi temporis, or carpe momentum, um, there's more to it than just it's too easy. It's oversimplification. You know, sure, you have to have the courage to seize the moment, but getting that courage, making the decision, taking the step, that's what the difficult part is. That's what stops so many of us from achieving um, whatever it is that awaits them, whatever their destiny is. I've been very, very fortunate. I got to the point, and I don't know how. I have, this is a self-awareness issue. I'm not sure exactly how it happened or when it happened or even why it happened. But I got to the point where eventually I started recognizing that I was going to make a decision. Um, Once I made the decision based on all the information I had that appeared to be the best information I could gather at that particular moment, I wasn't going to look back at that. And that if things didn't work out the way they were supposed to, I would find a way to improvise, you know, adjust in some way or overcome, uh, adapt in some way to whatever it was that was going on around me. And I've been fortunate in that I've not made such poor decisions that um, it's critically impacted my life in a negative way. But I think it's important that we recognize that all of us recognize because these specters, these ghosts of opportunity that stand all around us all the time, beckoning us to move in a certain direction towards a certain future, towards a different future, perhaps a powerful and positive future, go unseen unless we're in the moment, unless we open our eyes and recognize them for what they are, and then unless we are able to gather up the courage with the support of others, hopefully, to make good decisions. And once those good decisions are made, to motivate and mobilize all of the resources that you have at your disposal um, into pursuing that future, that decision as far as it will take you. And the reason I'm thinking about this a lot now is because obviously with so many different things occurring around the publishing, the release of the book Misfire, um, I'm looking at these different opportunities and I'm looking at these different crossroads and I'm trying to understand where they're going to lead and which path I need to take. So it's not one of those things where I'm giving advice that I'm not necessarily going to take myself. Talk is cheap. It takes money to buy whiskey. I'm going to go ahead and take the same advice I'm sharing. So stay well, take care. We'll have more to talk about tomorrow, I'm sure. Bye bye.